On a rainy late morning, I arrived in Minneapolis to meet Chef Chauncy. Chef Chauncy has been making a name for himself with his amazing creations such as fufu pizza, fufu tacos, plantain burgers, and more. When I arrived at his Jambo Experience Restaurant, I was given a welcome ginger and lemon drink with cassava chips. And after enjoying the treat, it was time to join the chef in his kitchen to find out what makes him tick. Why did you decide to turn something that's so traditional to something that is not so much traditional? Fufu, tacos, and then pizza.
When I went to school and become a chef, it never taught me how to make African food, and I wonder why. So I asked the teacher, why you guys don't show us how to make African food? And this guy told me, he said, son, this is the honest truth. African food don't have a market, and you cannot market African food because they don't have a price on it. And it made me mad, but at the same time, it makes sense. Because if I want to sell jollof rice, I can't sell it for $50. It won't make sense. People will be like, why is your jollof rice is $50, but I can sell it for maybe $10 or $5. But the European food, you can sell that for $50 and $60, and it makes sense. So why can I tap into the European market and using my African ingredients and the roots? And that's how I switch over like that, because I want to make a name for myself.
So I remember when I found out that you were Liberian, I didn't know that even Liberians did eat fufu. How's the fufu culture like in general?
The fufu, it's the same way with egusi, gravy, okra, a lot of sauce, and we mostly eat it with a pepper soup. The pepper soup is a lot of dry fish mixed and with this water stew, and we have fun and with it. But nobody never thought on the idea to take that from just eating it with stew, how to make appetizers out of it to the next level. And what I did here, it's not just for Liberia, it's for all the African countries to wake up. And it's time for we the young and the young heir, the young breed, to try to make changes but stick to your traditional roots. Because at the end of the day, you have to know where you came from to make those changes.
Talking about African cuisine, sort of traveling, we made a lot of bars with jollof. The world started listening. Have you looked into what you can do further with that as well?
I came out with this great idea to have a jollof burrito. Now, the amazing thing about that, imagine our food is always served on a plate with spoon, right? But imagine if you can have jollof on the go, and you're eating it on the bus and in a taxi cab and at work, and you don't have to worry about no oil on your white shirt. You don't have to worry about none of that because it's in a burrito wrap now, and you have the option of shrimp, chicken, beef, or fish wrapped up in there with your jollof on the go. And that's my next thing I'm gonna be coming up with, and it's already patented, so it's too late for you guys.
Don't steal it, yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of all these cuisines that you've experienced or you've prepared, which particular ones are difficult? Yeah.
The difficult one to make is I was trying to find something with the egusi. Like I wanted to make egusi stuffed pita bread, and every time when I tried it, it never worked. So I'm still working on that right now, and I'm gonna get it down pretty soon. And Nigerians, I'm actually coming for you too.
So how long have you been cooking?
I've been cooking for 20 years. I've been a professional chef for almost 11 years now. Yeah, and when I started off, I went to school for 4 years. I graduated, and the first job that I had was on the cruise line. I started traveling all around the world, learning the different food, the cuisines, European, Chinese, Mexicans. I learned all that, and then I told myself, said, I want to be that chef that will work at a Chinese restaurant. So once the Chinese comes in and they order or noodles broth, and they said, I want to see the chef that made this, and then an African chef comes through that door, and they said, no, it can't be. You're not Chinese. How do you know about our culture? And that's what makes me proud, because I like to be that chef, and I've always been that chef. I worked at a Mexican restaurant, I was a chef. I worked at a Asian restaurant, I was a chef. I worked at a French restaurant, I was a chef. And that's what really makes me grow, because you don't judge a book by its cover. Because once that food comes out, you don't know who's making that food in the back of that kitchen. It can be anybody.
You're not just a chef, you have your own restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the kinds of food that you serve at your restaurant?
I try to do a little bit of African fusion. A lot of people walk through here and they say, what is African fusion? I take the African ingredients and I try to fuse that with European and Mexican or Chinese. For example, a customer walk in and they ask for a stew. The stew is not cooked with the oil, it's cooked with the broth. So a lot of people might be like, oh, that don't make sense. Why would you cook a stew without oil? It could happen. And then now, once you come in, you have a choice now if you want oil in that stew, because we can pour oil in it, because the broth, you put the broth of that stew on the stove and you turn the stove on, that broth evaporates. And then now you have a choice now to add the oil if they want oil. And then also you have an option to choose your meat. What kind of meat would you like? Turkey, beef, chicken, fish, or whatever. And if you choose fish, we already have the fish already prepped, so then we just add that fish to it. And then also you get to choose your spice, how you want it. You want it spicy, medium, or no spice. And the reason why I do it like that, because these days we Africans, a lot of us don't always eat meat, so it's a stereotype. You have some Africans are vegan, vegetarian, they can't have meat, they can't have seafood, they're allergic to shrimp, they're allergic to certain things out there. So you can't cook the food now and put everything in it. That was back then, but now it's a new world, it's a new air, and I just stopped into this market, and I love it because it's not a lot of us that is doing it, and a lot of us should be doing it a lot more.
Traditionally, those who like to eat African food like it a certain way, and you are sort of brought in this infusion, and it's targeting not just the Africans but also opening it up. How is it working so far for you in this area?
I found a way how to cater to everybody. If I have somebody from another country comes in here and they want African stew, and I make a special stew from Liberia for them. But the way how I explain that stew and to them with all the options they have to choose and how they want it, it makes it feel like they're creating their own meal right there instead of just putting up something on a bowl and serving it to them, and it makes them feel special. And I have a lot of European comes in here, a lot of whites, and the food, they can relate to it because now they don't have to ask me what's in it. Why is this so covered up with the green and I can't see the meat, because now they choose the meat so they know what's in it. And that's what makes it so great, and it works beautiful.
And do you deliver? Do you deliver to people?
Yes, we do delivery for Boy Squad, and we do Uber Eats, and we do DoorDash around the places.
And I also like the fact that you sort of have diversity. So you have something for kids. Why do you decide to do all of that?
Because before I started the whole restaurant, African restaurant business stuff, like I actually did my research. So I went to African restaurants, and most of them don't have a kids menu. And then also most of them, they don't give you options. Like on my menu, I have options of brown rice or white rice or quinoa. If you pay for something, you know, you should choose. And I think choosing, it makes you feel special. It makes you feel like these people, you know, cares about me. Not this is it and you don't have a choice. You gotta take it or leave. That's how that sounds. But if you have a choice, it's beautiful. And I think every African restaurant out there, it don't matter where you at, in the States, abroad, give your customers options. Give them choices to choose what they want. I have fresh ginger juice. I got pineapple coconut. I got watermelon. I have a passion fruit. So once they come in, they say, oh my God, it's too many choices, but let me try all of them. And they end up liking every single one of them, and they want all of them. I say, are you sure? They say, yes, I'm gonna take one for myself, one for my wife, one for my 2 kids. And it works out beautiful.
So I see in front of me, there's tilapia, there is tacos, there is a plantain burger, and there is also pizza. Fufu pizza. Which of these creations do you love the most?
I love the fufu tacos the most, and the reason why I love this and the most, because this was the first creation I started with, you know. And this right here, you know, a lot of people might look at it to be fritters or just fried fufu. Why is he calling it fufu tacos? But then you have to ask yourself, what name can you give your dish that will make your dish sell? Because it's not the dish so much, it's the name, you know? Because once the name is out there and people try and speak for itself, then that means your job is done. Look at French fries. Why they call it French fries? The French never invented French fries. So why they call it French fries? You see that? So, you know, we need to stop. Why is it fufu tacos? It don't look like tacos. Taste it. And the same taste from a tacos is in here, but it's in a different form. And the name speaks for itself.
All right, so after all the cooking and talking, it is time for the verdict. Yes, time to taste these signature Chef Chauncy dishes. And what do I think about them?
Good about it. It's not over seasoning, you know? Like,
it tastes good.
yeah.
Amazing. All right. I'm already loving it.